What is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel for another wonderful video. Today we have a video for you talking about another 10 things. 10 things in the worlds of wrestling. And this time it is 10 wrestling feuds where the wrong person won. We're going to go back. We're going to talk about 10, my 10 most egregious feud outcomes. Let's start with one that happened last year, where we had Chad Gable versus Sami Zayn. This started pretty soon after WrestleMania when Sami won the Intercontinental Championship. He defended the title against Gable in Sami's hometown. Sami won. Gable turned heel after the match, attacking Sami. It was a great turn. And then a few weeks later, Gable beat Sami on Raw in a non-title match, really establishing that Gable could be a credible threat, could be the guy to win the title from Sami. And then at King and the Queen of the Ring, we had a triple threat match between the two and Bronson Reed that added that extra element. We ended up getting a title retention from Sami Zayn, but that was okay because we could get one more match, and we did. We got that match at Clash at the Castle. And this was the chance for us to put a title on Gable and really go forward and make him a mainstay in that mid-card scene. And then Sami Zayn won. Sami Zayn defeated Chad Gable in this feud after we had Gable turn heel for the first time in a while and really try and set himself apart. And we just wasted it. So, at number 9, we have the feud between Edge and Finn Balor. Now, for those of you that don't know how this feud went, let's do a quick run through. At the Hell in a Cell PLE in 2022, Judgment Day's Edge, Priest, and Ripley defeated AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and Liv Morgan. And that was the real start of this feud. If you don't remember, Edge was the original creator of Judgment Day. The following night, Balor joined Judgment Day. And we had a real interesting turn of events where Balor was joining Judgment Day. Now Judgment Day's got Edge, Priest, Balor, and Ripley. This is getting strong. And then they immediately turned around and kicked Edge out of the group. We found out later that this was just because WWE decided with certain injuries on the roster, they didn't have enough faces and they needed to turn Edge face again. We wouldn't see any development in this feud for about 2.5 months until Edge returned. And then in September, he teamed with Rey Mysterio at Clash at the Castle to defeat Damian Priest and Finn Balor. But that was okay because this is where Dominic Mysterio turned heel by attacking Edge and his father Rey and joining the Judgment Day. And then in October at Extreme Rules, Finn Balor defeated Edge in an I Quit match. They kind of cheated to do it. They were threatening to attack Beth Phoenix. Edge said he quits, though. That could have been the end of the feud. It might have been a little bit of a cop-out ending to the feud, but at least we would have had the right winner. Because we ended up having a mixed tag match at Elimination Chamber with Edge and Beth Phoenix defeating Balor and Ripley. And then the feud ended at WrestleMania 39 when Edge defeated the Demon Finn Balor in a Hell in a Cell match. And there's just so many reasons that shouldn't have happened. The most of them being, one, Edge was clearly at the end of tenure of his career. Balor has plenty of time left, even though he is on the older side for a wrestler. He still has plenty of career left. And Edge was actively going to be out of a contract in like 4 months. Why not put over Balor here? It just never made sense. It was a bad booking decision. It nuked the Demon persona. It was the first time Balor had brought it back since joining the Judgment Day. It's the last time he's used it since then. And I don't blame him. The last 2 matches that the Demon's been in was a loss to Edge in Hell in a Cell and a loss to Roman Reigns in Elimination or in Extreme Rules. So Edge defeating Finn Balor was the wrong choice. The next feud we're going to talk about is when Chris Jericho defeated Shawn Michaels in their 2008 feud. Now, Jericho and Michaels have had plenty of feuds, but this one was the big one, and the one Shawn Michaels should have won, if we're being honest. Fresh off defeating Ric Flair and retiring him at WrestleMania 24, Shawn Michaels was conflicted. He was struggling with it, and Batista was pissed. And it led to a match between Batista and Shawn Michaels with Chris Jericho as the special guest referee. And Batista, at one point in the match, looked to have injured Shawn Michaels' leg, and Michaels was really leaning into it and caught Batista with a super kick out of nowhere, and got the win. And Jericho didn't like it. He felt suspicious of it. And there was a lot of back and forth. It eventually led to a match between them at the Great American Bash, which, if memory serves, Shawn Michaels won. It might have ended in a no contest. It doesn't really matter, though, because then Jericho, being the Intercontinental Champion, was getting ready for Night of Champions. And he was going to be defending against Kofi Kingston. And I guess to take Shawn Michaels out of the equation, Jericho fully turned heel by putting Michaels forcefully through the Jeritron 3000. Face first. It was pretty bad. And then at his title defense at Night of Champions, Shawn Michaels comes out. It ends up distracting Jericho, who eats the Trouble in Paradise. Kofi wins the title. All right. Now we're costing each other matches, blah, 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 blah. And this ends up leading to a match between the two that Jericho wins by just beating Michaels senseless and having a referee stoppage. And at SummerSlam, Michaels comes out, does the whole I'm going to be retiring thing. Jericho comes out to make fun of him. They end up scrapping. Jericho takes a swing. Michaels ducks. It ends up clocking Michaels' wife, which Michaels gets pissed. It leads to a match between them at Unforgiven. And Michaels beats Jericho senseless. Wins the match. We all feel like this is the end of the feud. And then later that night, Weasley Chris Jericho gets himself added into the championship scramble match when CM Punk was taken out and wins the World Heavyweight title. And then we get the next match, which was a ladder match at No Mercy for the title. And this was our last chance to really have Shawn Michaels have a world championship program, and they let Jericho win. And it was just the wrong choice. I mean, and here's the thing. I have it lower on the list because it was still one of Jericho's best runs. So I'm not mad that he got to have that title run, but Shawn Michaels should have won it here. Jericho could have won it back in a month later, and it would have been fine. But this was our big moment to put the world title on Shawn Michaels for the first time in 6 years and have him have that last world title reign. But we didn't. Speaking of world title reigns that never were, at number 7, AJ Styles defeats Shinsuke Nakamura. Y'all remember, Shinsuke Nakamura won the 2018 Royal Rumble and challenged AJ Styles at WrestleMania 34 for the WWE Championship, but lost. And then he turned heel after the match. And then this was the 6-month span where Shinsuke Nakamura just kept hitting AJ Styles in the nuts, and he just wouldn't do anything to stop it. And it was ridiculous, and it was dumb. And then they had a title rematch at the Greatest Royal Rumble, which I'm upset that's where they had it, because that means that's the second time we've referenced that horrible event in the last 3 videos, and that upsets me. But nonetheless, they had a rematch at Greatest Royal Rumble that ended in a double countout. Then they had another rematch in a no disqualification match at Backlash that ended in a no contest. This was during the Vince McMahon era where match stipulations didn't matter, because this was around the same time that we had a Hell in a Cell match end in a no contest, and then like a year later a Hell in a Cell match ended in disqualification. It was a bad time where matches were not ending the way they should. We had the end of this feud at Money in the Bank, where AJ defeated Shinsuke in a last man standing match for the title. And that was it. Shinsuke's heel turn, his title push, they were all for nothing. And the feud ended with AJ retaining the title and moving on to bigger and better things than Shinsuke Nakamura, apparently, because he loses every major world title feud he's in WWE. And I'm at the point where I don't think Shinsuke will ever win the world title. So moving on to number 6, we have Randy Orton defeating Bray Wyatt. There's a lot to this one. I'm going to try and make it quick. In 2016, at TLC pay-per-view, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt defeated Heath Slater and Rhino to win the SmackDown tag titles. They'd lose them a month later to Alpha Academy on a SmackDown, but it established Randy and Bray had some chemistry. They were cool with one another. And then at the Royal Rumble 2017, they both made it to the Final Four. Bray ended up getting eliminated by Roman Reigns, who ended up getting eliminated by Randy Orton to win the Royal Rumble. Bray then made it into the Elimination Chamber the next match, or the next month, for the title. And Randy said, if you win, Bray, I'm not going to challenge you. I'll go for the other title. I'll go for the Universal title. We got this. We'll hold both titles. Bray did end up winning that Elimination Chamber, last pitting AJ Styles after hitting him with that beautiful Sister Abigail counter from the Phenomenal Forearm. It was amazing, to win his first singles and major world championship. But then Randy did end up challenging Bray. He turned on Bray. He was the heelest face to ever be a face. He burnt down Bray's house. It was insane. And then he beat Bray at WrestleMania. And he shouldn't have. And we talked about this in our other video, where in reality they did this all backwards. But why? And then they gave Bray the horrible consolation prize of the next month. Bray got to win a House of Horrors match again, which was a prelude to the Firefly Funhouse's match. So I'll let it be what it is. But he got to win that, but it wasn't for the title. So why did it matter? Randy won the feud. Bray won the consolation rematch. That didn't matter. And then the icing on the cake was 4 years after all of this happened, Randy and Bray feuded again. This time Bray was the Fiend. And it resulted in a 5-month-long story that only had 2 matches. 3 if you count the horrible, Randy Orton versus Spooky Alexa Bliss match, where Alexa Bliss hit him with the fireball, and we had Randy Orton's face was burnt for a week, and then it was fine. It was horrible. But then it resulted in a Firefly Inferno match at TLC, which Randy won and set Bray on fire. And then a 1-on-1 match at WrestleMania 37, which Randy won again. And this time it was in less than 6 minutes. So in their entire feud in 1-on-1 matches, Bray won once, and it was a non-title rematch after he lost the title in a match that no one cared about, because it was before they had really figured out the formula for cinematic matches. Not only did Randy Orton beat Bray Wyatt in this feud, which shouldn't have happened, he did it twice. He feuded with Bray twice and won both feuds. Criminal. Moving on to number 5, we're going to take it way back to when Hulk Hogan couldn't lose to Randy Savage. He just couldn't do it. Not really, anyway. We all know the story of how the Mega Powers exploded in 1989 after the events of Main Event 2. It led to a match at WrestleMania 5 between them, where Savage was defending the title against Hogan, and Hogan won, thus crowning a new champion. Savage would get three televised title rematches over the next 3 months, and would win all 3 of them by countout. And then he lost a title match to Hogan in October, and then wouldn't get another 1-on-1 match until Main Event 3 in February of 1990, pretty much a year after this whole thing had gone by. And he would lose. Meaning that in a feud that consisted of six matches, one-on-one between Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. All 6 were title matches. Savage was pinned 3 times and then won 3 times by countout. Hogan never ate a pin. Hulk Hogan was doing Hulk Hogan things, brother. And that's why everybody can't stand him. Moving on. At number 4, John Cena, you're going to hear his name a couple times going forward, defeated Wade Barrett and or the Nexus. You guys remember the Nexus? You guys remember how awesome the Nexus was? Remember their amazing debut where they showed up, jumped John Cena, jumped CM Punk, jumped the Straight Edge Society, destroyed the ring, hit 450 splashes, and destroyed the ringside area. Choke Justin Roberts with the tie. An amazing debut. And then they ran roughshod on the entire Raw roster for the next few months. And then they got their first PLE match. Back then they were still called pay-per-views, but I'm getting into the lingo. A 7-on-7 Team WWE versus Team Nexus elimination match at SummerSlam 2010. And they lost. John Cena was the last person on his team and beat Justin Gabriel and Wade Barrett after getting dropped on the concrete, taking a DDT to the concrete, and he won. Okay, Super Cena. Then Barrett finally gets his first PLE win when he defeats Cena at Hell in a Cell 2010, but then lost to Cena at the end of this feud at TLC. Cena didn't gain anything from this. There was no title on the line. He could have lost. It completely derailed Nexus. It completely derailed Wade Barrett. It took Wade Barrett years to recover and start winning some Intercontinental titles and eventually becoming Bad News Barrett. But the Nexus, they really never recovered. I mean, they had a brief stint where they were a little bit successful when CM Punk took over and they became the new Nexus. But even still, they never won anything other than a couple tag titles. And when they did win tag titles, they didn't mean anything and would drop them just as quickly half the time. Most people don't remember a time where David Otunga and Michael McGillicuddy or Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater were winning tag titles. You just don't. I'm just saying. At number 3, might as well just keep his face on the screen. John Cena defeats Bray Wyatt. The Wyatts started feuding with John Cena in the build-up to WrestleMania 30, and it was set to make a new star. Poor Bray Wyatt just getting jobbed out to the champions of the 2000s. Cena beat Bray at WrestleMania, killing all the momentum that Bray and the Wyatt family had gained. Bray did get a win back over Cena at Extreme Rules in a steel cage match, but he ended up losing the final match of the feud at Payback when he lost the last man standing match, which he shouldn't have lost. Like, Bray's this supernatural character that just keeps getting up after everything. Cena's a man. Bray should have won. The only consolation to this, the only reason I might even consider saying I put them in the wrong order and put it down at 4, but the only reason is because Cena did eventually give back Bray the win he should have gotten when they faced each other at WrestleMania 36 in the Firefly Funhouse match, but the damage was already done. The reason that it's higher than the Nexus is because Bray Wyatt could have been the next Undertaker. Wade Barrett would have been the next, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good comparison. The next, Batista without the acting career. Like, he could have been a couple-time world champion and a mainstay on the roster, but Bray Wyatt could have been a spectacle. He could have been a special attraction, and they blew it. They absolutely blew it. At number 2, however, this is where we get into the real egregious. These last two, there were more than just wrestling at stake. At number 2, Triple H defeats Booker T. Booker T challenged Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 19. And leading up to this, Triple H was given the character direction of being extremely derogatory towards Booker. Booker should have won this match. He didn't. Not only did he not win the match, but he took a pedigree and got pinned like 30 seconds later and didn't kick out. And it was egregious. And then we did get a rematch because Booker teamed with the Hurricane to beat Triple H and Ric Flair on Raw, and that earned him another title match. But then that match ended up being a no contest, and they never had another one-on-one match. That was it. That was Booker's last title match against Triple H. The only non-Royal Rumble interaction they ever had again, actually, was later that month at Backlash. Triple H, Ric Flair, and Chris Jericho beat Booker T, Shawn Michaels, and Kevin Nash in a 6-man tag, which means that in a feud where Booker was the victim of derogatory and borderline racist things at the, direction of the company, obviously, he never won. He won one tag match against Triple H, and I don't think he pinned Triple H. I'm pretty sure he pinned Ric Flair. The point is, Booker should have gotten his revenge in this feud, not been the guy that couldn't get the job done. However, the craziest feud with the wrong winner is at number 1, Edge defeating Matt Hardy. If you're a newer wrestling fan, you might not even know about this feud, but this feud was the hottest thing going on in 2005. Edge had started having an affair with Lita, who was Matt Hardy's girlfriend at the time, while Matt Hardy was laid up from a knee injury. And it ended up resulting in Matt Hardy getting fired from the company. Real fired. And fans were furious. He's the victim. How could you do this to him? Blah, 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 blah. They ended up bringing him back because they realized they had left a lot of money on the table for this feud. And apparently Matt Hardy and Edge were able to put their differences aside. Most of Matt's aggression or disdain was apparently towards Lita. And they had their first match at SummerSlam 2005. And Edge won by beating the hell out of Matt Hardy and getting a referee stoppage in less than 5 minutes. I was almost willing to accept this when I went back and I watched Matt Hardy being a bat out of hell, blinded with rage, and making mistakes. Fine. We get a street fight a month later on Raw, ends in a no contest. Again, bad booking. Street fights shouldn't end in no contests, but whatever. Hardy finally gets his win when at Unforgiven 2005, he hits that massive leg drop off the cage, pins Edge. Should have been the end of the feud right there. Matt Hardy should have won. But we decided to take it one step further when we had a loser leaves Raw Money in the Bank ladder match, which the minute that happened, I knew it was not good for Matt because they didn't look at him as a future world champion. But you could have, because this feud could have propelled Matt Hardy permanently into the main event scene with Edge, because Edge was already going to be a bona fide main eventer. This was a chance to bring Matt Hardy up there too. And you could have told a hell of a story here, and you didn't. You had Edge beat Matt Hardy in the loser leaves Raw Money in the Bank match, and Matt Hardy ended up on SmackDown, and it took him several years to really recover enough just to win a title, and he ended up winning a tag title with MVP during his feud with MVP. Finally wins the US title. A couple years after that, he wins the ECW title. But you know what he never did? He never beat Edge. He never won the world title or the WWE title, and he could have if he had won this feud. But Vince McMahon wanted to push his, his new toy, which was Edge, and I understand that. I loved Edge. I still love Edge. I think he's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Um, but he shouldn't have won this feud. It should have been Matt. Matt was the real life victim here, and this was a chance for the fans to get behind him on a personal level. And WWE dropped the ball on this one. But these are my top 10 feuds that ended with the wrong person winning. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you think should have won these feuds. Any other feuds you think were won by the wrong person. By the time this goes out, Royal Rumble will be tomorrow. Please have a good time watching that. I will not have any videos coming out this weekend unless my editor is able to do something. Because all of the videos that you've seen this week, the wrestling content, that was all done by me. After the time of recording, I would go straight into editing. I don't have time to do that. Taylor and I are going out of town for the weekend later tonight. So I will not be back until post Royal Rumble. Have a good time with the Royal Rumble. Please, if you want, you can join my Discord and talk about the Royal Rumble with other wrestling fans. And with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, let me know what you guys think I got right and wrong in this video. And any of the other feuds you could think of where the wrong person absolutely won. With all that being said, as always, I'm Pip. Y'all the greatest, and when in doubt, we'll see you next time. See ya!